Hello and welcome. You tuned into Market Cafe. I'm Ankita Saxena and with me is Shishti Sharma. In the next 1 hour, we'll take you through what's happening globally on the global market front and the geopolitics and of course the cues to watch out for before the start of the street today. But first up, let's take stock of how Wall Street opened up, how that is shaping up in the futures. As far as the stock futures are concerned, we do see a bit of a wait and watch mode for the CPI numbers that are due today for the Wall Street. We have Dow Jones that has lost 65 odd points, very flat though. S&P 500 futures have slipped 0.2% and Nasdaq also declined 0.3%. So a bit of a decline coming in there as far as the futures are concerned. But as far as yesterday's market close is concerned, it did close in the green, but very marginally in the green. Dow Jones is traded up 0.1%. S&P 500 also closed up just 10 points higher, and Nasdaq Composite traded up 62 points higher. So though in the green, there is wait and watch mode as far as US market is concerned. The CPI numbers that we are expecting today, we do expect that the CPI rose 2.7%. This is according to Dow Jones consensus estimate, and this would be in line with the lower than expected November CPI results. And also as far as the December jobs data is concerned, we saw that cooling off a bit, but it was pretty much in line with what we were expecting, and also it reflected a stable jobs market, and also that means that the Federal Reserve will hold off on the interest rate cuts for now. So as of now, we are expecting the CPI numbers to come out at 2.7%. So that's what so the cues basically the Wall Street is watching out for. But nonetheless, the futures are a bit on the lower side as of now.
Oh, indeed. That's about the US markets. They were seen to be shrugging off all the fears and the commentary that we have seen coming in from Jerome Powell. Very interesting moves coming in on the commodity side because, yes, of course, is the safe haven buying that once again seem to be kicking in amidst all the geopolitical tensions as well as what's been happening with the Fed chair. And we have seen over 2% of gain coming in on the gold prices. Silver jumped almost 8% overnight. But with respect to the crude as well, slowly and steadily, that is also seen to be inching higher. As of now, Brent oil is trading around that $64 per barrel mark. Oil rises to a 3-month high amidst the supply concerns as well. So that's about the crude check. But yes, of course, with respect to the gold prices, like we have been telling you, it's just yesterday we have seen the record high levels touching in for gold, because gold has climbed to a record of $4,600 per ounce as investors turn to the safe havens amid the rising tensions between Trump administration and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Now, Wall Street futures dropped and the dollar fell by most in the 3 weeks as tension between Fed and the Trump administration escalated. Now, an investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is adding fresh policy risk to markets, raising speculation about a possible leadership change at the Fed. Now, gold surge comes after an exceptionally strong year, and according to World Gold Council, gold rose 4% in December alone, helping it finish 2025 up 67% year-on-year, marking one of its strongest full-year performances in decades. Now, analysts say that new Fed chair, more open to faster cuts, could boost gold, which already benefits from lower rates and cooling US labor data. Geopolitical tensions in Iran and Venezuela are further driving the investors into the safe haven metal.
All right, and the news at the moment of Sergio Gore visiting India on the trade talks. He has taken a charge as U.S. ambassador to India, and in public address before assuming office, Sergio Gore thanked U.S. President Donald Trump, saying his mission in India is to strengthen the ties between the oldest and the largest democracies. Gore said that the U.S. President Donald Trump conveyed his best wishes to his friend PM Modi. India and the U.S. are continuing to actively engage in trade deal negotiations. Sergio Gore said in an important statement that the next call to discuss the deal is scheduled for today. And before we go to the guests and discuss the topic at hand, here's what Sergio Gore had to say. Let's go across and listen in.
We are raising the standard for diplomacy itself. That means fair trade, mutual respect, and shared security. Many of you have asked me for an update on the ongoing trade deal negotiations. Both sides continue to actively engage. Remember, India is the world's largest nation, so it's not an easy task to get this across the finish line, but we are determined to get there. And while trade is very important for our relationship, we will continue to work closely together on other very important areas, such as security, counterterrorism, energy, technology, education, and health.
That India has almost no semiconductor capacity. We would be very happy to be anchored in somebody's supply chain. We must not exaggerate our capacities. We have only one fab that is still under production. We have chip design capacity, but all our chip designers work for other countries, and we have no semiconductor ecosystem. I have been to Taiwan, I've been to South Korea, I've been to Japan, I've talked to a number of semiconductor specialists there, and they said India has manpower, but at present it has absolutely nothing else. So for us, anchoring into we cannot obviously anchor into a Chinese semiconductor ecosystem. That is strategically impossible for us. So we'd be more than happy, I think, to be signing up with somebody else. We already have bilateral semiconductor agreements with Japan, with South Korea. We have rare earth critical minerals agreements with Japan and Australia. We have a similar agreement under the TTC, the Trade Technology Commission Council, with the EU, and we already have a semiconductor working group in the Quad. So for us to join Pax Silica is hardly anything unusual. It would actually be a logical step.
We will have to adjust, and we will adjust, not have to. America will also adjust, but we'll adjust to a point, and America will adjust to a point, and that's where hopefully equilibrium will come. But personal chemistry and equations do definitely help a lot, but that's the icing on the cake, is the core rocks of our national interests which come at play. Now, quickly back to, the Pax Silica thing. I think it's interesting that he made this announcement, Ambassador Gore. The initiative was announced in December. There were about 5 odd countries which are named, or 6, which were named as part of that initiative. India was not in that list. To some extent, I think in India, we expected that India should be in that list. Or if we are not in that list, why are we not in that list? Is it another signal from America that it's downgrading or downplaying our role and our place in this world matrix?
It has been, quite concerning for India, the kind of rhetoric coming out of Washington. But India has also signaled that it's not seeking a confrontation with the US while it seeks to protect its interests in the negotiations and discussions. It is also not ramping up the rhetoric or actually, confronting the United States. We've chosen to ignore most of the rhetoric coming out of the US. So I think the fact that Ambassador Gore has hit the ground running and wants to grapple with the most difficult aspect of the relationship at present, which is the trade and economic relationship, where 50% tariffs have been imposed on India, is a good thing, because the ambassador can act as a bridge and as a conduit.
All right, and moving on to another story then, and India and Germany firmed up a comprehensive roadmap to expand ties in the education sector as Prime Minister Narendra Modi and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz held wide-ranging talks to expand the overall trajectory of bilateral engagement. Now, the two leaders also deliberated on the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the situation in Gaza and other pressing global challenges, with Modi asserting that India has always supported the peaceful resolution of all problems and disputes. Now, the German leader landed in Ahmedabad yesterday on a 2-day visit to India. It is his first trip to Asia as German Chancellor. And here's what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said during the joint press conference.
रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के क्षेत्र में भारत और जर्मनी की प्राथमिकताएं समान है। इसमें सहयोग को बढ़ाने के लिए हमने इंडिया जर्मनी सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस स्थापित करने का निर्णय लिया है। ये नॉलेज, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन का साझा मंच बनेगा। हम क्लाइमेट, एनर्जी, अर्बन डेवलपमेंट और अर्बन मोबिलिटी जैसे क्षेत्रों में मिलकर नई परियोजनाओं को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन में दोनों देशों की कंपनियों का नया मेगा प्रोजेक्ट भविष्य की ऊर्जा के लिए एक गेम चेंजर साबित होगा। भारत और जर्मनी सिक्योर, ट्रस्टेड और रेजिलिएंट सप्लाई चेन के निर्माण के लिए मिलकर के काम कर रहे हैं। इन सभी विषयों पर आज किए जा रहे एमओयू से हमारे सहयोग को नई गति और मजबूती मिलेगी।
And US President Donald Trump says any country doing business with Iran will face a 25% US tariff on all trade effective immediately. The move aims to economically isolate Tehran amid ongoing anti-government protests and rising tensions. Details remain rather unclear, including the legal basis of the tariffs, as the decision comes ahead of a crucial US Supreme Court ruling on Trump's broader tariff powers. And US Press Secretary added that all the options remain on the table, including diplomacy and military strikes. Let's go across and listen in.
He's always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief. Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite differently from the messages the administration is receiving privately, and I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages. However, with that said, the president has shown he's unafraid to use military options if and when he deems necessary, and nobody knows that better than Iran.
And Trump has threatened to sideline Exxon and Mobil from Venezuela's oil sector, saying the company is paying too cute. Now the comments follow Exxon CEO Darren Woods calling Venezuela uninvestable amid political and legal risk. Trump has been pushing U.S. oil firms to invest heavily in Venezuela, but Exxon's reluctance could now cost its access to future projects.
In the past, three chairs of Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, Ben Bernanke and Alan Greenspan, have condemned what they call an unprecedented assault by Trump on Fed Chair Jerome Powell. They warned that criminal probes targeting central bankers resemble practices seen in emerging markets with weak institutions and risk undermining U.S. economic stability and the rule of law. However, U.S. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt remained rather defiant, saying many economists believe that Powell is not fit for the Fed chair seat. Let's listen in.
The president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job. As for whether or not Jerome Powell is a criminal, that's an answer the Department of Justice is going to have to find out, and it looks like they intend to find that out. The president has made it quite clear he thinks Jerome Powell is bad at his job, and the president has made it quite clear, as have many economists, by the way, that interest rates should be lowered, and they should have been lowered a long time ago.
And Paramount Skydance has sued Warren Brothers Discovery and CEO David Zaslav after the board again urged the shareholders to reject Paramount's $30 a share hostile bid. Paramount has also flagged a proxy fight days after Warner agreed to sell HBO Max and its film studio to Netflix for $72 billion and reiterated plans to split into two listed entities.
And Alphabet briefly crossed a $4 trillion market valuation, becoming the fourth company ever to hit the milestone. A renewed confidence in the AI strategy lifted investor sentiment. Shares, in fact, jumped after Alphabet said Apple's next-generation AI models will run on Google's Gemini under a multi-year deal. The stock gained about 65% in 2025, outperforming the Magnificent Seven peers.
And in a major shake-up in tech circles, Meta CEO has announced that former Trump advisor Dina Powell-McCormick has been appointed as the president of TechShine. Powell-McCormick was most recently vice chair, president and head of global client services at the merchant bank BDT and MSD Partners, and previously worked as the senior executive at Goldman Sachs. She was also deputy national security advisor to President Donald Trump during his first term, and this is the second recent hire in Meta with ties to Trump administration. Now, earlier, Curtis Joseph Mahanoy, who served as the deputy U.S. trade representative under Trump's first term, was named the company's new chief legal officer.
And hailing the Gen Z for their creativity, PM Modi said yesterday that the Indian youth are at the forefront of nation building. The capability of the Indian youth, the Prime Minister said, will become India's ability in the future, and they will take the country to new heights. Speaking at the concluding session of the Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue in New Delhi, PM Modi also recounted the steps taken by the Centre for the Youth. Let's listen to what PM Modi had to say.
आपने यहाँ जो प्रेजेंटेशन रखे, अलग-अलग थीम्स को लेकर प्रभावी बात रखी है। ये दिखाता है कि हमारी अमृत पीढ़ी विकसित भारत के निर्माण के लिए कितनी संकल्पित है। इससे ये भी स्पष्ट होता है कि भारत में जैन जी का मिजाज क्या है। भारत का जैन जी कितनी क्रिएटिविटी से भरा हुआ है। मैं आप सभी युवा साथियों को, मेरा युवा भारत संगठन से जुड़े सभी नौजवानों को इस आयोजन के लिए और इसकी सफलता के लिए मैं बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, आप सबका अभिनंदन करता हूं।
All right, and we are counting down to the BMC elections that will take place on January 15th. Now, the elections to the most richest civic body in India will be significant as it determines the fate of the financial capital of India. Watch this report to know more.
The financial capital of India, home to the wealth makers, a city that never sleeps, a city that never stops moving. For decades, Mumbai has represented the aspirations of rising India. With a GDP of 25.73 lakh crore rupees in 2025, Mumbai is the highest contributor to the country's economic growth. And that's why the elections to the civic body that shape the life of the city assumes national significance.
Now looking at the electric AC buses, the metros, I would say yes, there has been an upgradation. Today I have been paying taxes since long. Now I think yes, as a return, the metro, the electric bus and public transport becoming strong in Mumbai.
New towers are developed, but roads are not broadened, and there are lots of we require more gardens for people for our health, and health related there are no steps or major steps from BMC for the health of common people. So that should be given more weightage.
Air in Mumbai, Delhi or anywhere is not pure, and because of that diseases या फिर dirty waters, clean नहीं होते waters हमारे, and roads, biggest issue roads, मतलब गड्ढे कितने हैं आजकल।
अगर आप मुंबई में खुली सड़क पे घूम रहे हो तो आपको पब्लिक टॉयलेट जो है ना बिल्कुल भी साफ़ नहीं मिलते हैं। किसी भी टॉयलेट में आप चले जाइए, इतनी गंदगी रहती है कि आप यूज नहीं कर सकते हैं, और यहाँ ये सबसे बड़ा इश्यू है।
BMC, being India's richest civic body, its budget for 2025 was above 74,000 crore rupees, the revenue for which was above 40,000 crore rupees. Major revenue generating sources for the BMC have been the now abolished octroi, premiums and property tax. And this is where BMC plays an important role in policy making decisions. Decisions on property tax directly impact the housing market in the mega city.
Real estate in Bombay provides almost 55% of the revenue of Bombay, of BMC rather. So I feel supporting the real estate developers, ease of doing business is highly on the top priority list right now, I think, because getting approvals from corner to corner becomes tough, is time consuming, as well as it delays the process of redevelopment.
Shopkeepers, traders and small enterprises have ensured Mumbai's economy runs like a well-oiled machine. Will the new BMC administration ensure their demands are taken into consideration?
इजी वन वे पॉलिसी लानी चाहिए, वन विंडो पॉलिसी, जिसकी तरफ से कोई भी इंडस्ट्री है तो कोई भी जीएसटी हो या दूसरी इंडस्ट्री से रिलेटेड जो भी लाइसेंस वगैरह जो होते हैं वो इजी वे में मिल जाने चाहिए, और सरकार के जितने भी डिपार्टमेंट है, जीएसटी हो, इनकम टैक्स हो, जो भी एजेंसी हो, उनका भी पूरा सहयोग सारी इंडस्ट्री को मिलना चाहिए।
Mumbai houses key financial institutions like BSE, NSE, RBI and LIC, key trading points like JNPT and Mumbai Port, and Bollywood. Top corporate houses too are headquartered in this city, making it a financial powerhouse. Civic bodies' role to ensure living conditions that are conducive for big conglomerates and foreign investors to thrive is in focus. 2026 elections in Mumbai will be the first civic elections in 9 years. For over 3 years, Mumbai has been without a mayor. And the tenure ahead for the new corporation will be challenging, with some mega projects coming up that will change the face of the city. 750 crore rupees Central Park at Mahalakshmi Racecourse that aims at expanding the green cover in the concrete jungle. The Gargai Dam project that aims to add to Mumbai's ever-expanding water needs. A cable bridge in South Mumbai that will ensure traffic decongestion. 14,000 crore rupee link road project that connects the eastern suburbs to west. And a 4,000 crore rupee waste management contract that could make the city's waste disposal world class.
जो अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग है, लैंड की कॉस्ट इतनी बढ़ गई है कि लोग कोई बड़ा बिजनेस यहाँ अगर करना चाहे तो एक्विजिशन कॉस्ट बहुत बढ़ गया है. तो हम चाहते हैं कि बीएमसी इसमें कुछ करे, लोगों को एनओसी लैंड का एक्विजिशन के कायदे इतने इमीडिएट होने चाहिए कि ताकि काफी आसानी से लोग इन्वेस्टमेंट करें. ईज ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट शुड बी देयर.
No other civic election in India has been as anticipated and watched out for as much as Mumbai. Will the newly elected civic body give the city its money's worth? The writing will be on the wall on January 16th. Bureau Report, ET Now.
All right, BMC elections on 15th of January. Do go out and vote. It is a public holiday and the markets will remain shut. So it's going to be a truncated week of trade this week. But let's move on then. Shiv Sena's UBT leader Aditya Thackeray spoke on to Times Network ahead of the BMC elections. He has shed light on the UBT strategy and agenda for elections. Let's listen in.
The BJP in the height of COVID, when we were managing Maharashtra, corporates were wanting to give to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. They have called the corporates and bullied them to give to PM Care Fund. The BJP MPs and MLAs have given their salaries to the PM Care Fund, only to find out later that the PM Care Fund is private. What does PM and PM Care's fund mean? How was it formed? Who are its members? Where is the money being used? What happens to the money that has been collected? Has anything been diverted to the BJP? So why doesn't the BJP start off from that? चलो, if you want to speak about corruption ना, जैसे मैं इसी हॉल से corruption को expose करता हूँ, आप वैसे ही मेरे साथ आइए और देखिए आपने क्या corruption किया है. जो मैंने रोड स्कैम कहा था 2023 में, पीएम साहब के हाथों से उन्होंने भूमि पूजन किए. The minute I exposed the road scam, the scam's cost, the total cost of that whole project of Mumbai roads went down from 6,080 crores to 5,000 crores in 6 hours. Isn't this corruption? When I exposed the Ghodbandhan Thane elevated road issue from this room itself, the MMRD said, okay, now we won't give 20 days for the tender, we'll give 60 days for the tender. Someone went to court, Supreme Court caught the chori of 3,000 crores. That is corruption. And यही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, अगर
कोविड स्कैम का एक सीरियस जो आपकी पार्टी पे लगता है,
बिल्कुल, लेकिन उसमें भी अगर उसमें 1 इंच भी झूठ कुछ होता या कुछ नकली होता या कुछ भी स्कैम का 1 रुपया भी इधर का उधर होता, तो हम बीजेपी में होते, हमें डेप्यूटी सीएम बनाते थे. और जिस स्केल का उन्होंने कहा ना, वो कौन चार्टर में उसने कहा है 3 लाख करोड़ का या कुछ स्कैम बताया है, ऐसे ही आपको याद होगा मनमोहन सिंह जी को उन्होंने डिफेम किया था भाजपा ने. 2G स्कैम, कोल स्कैम, CAG हैड टू अपोलोजाइज आफ्टर दैट. लेकिन अगर 3 लाख करोड़ का किसी का स्कैम होता ना, तो भाजपा हमें पीएम बना देती.
आपके क्लोज एड सूरज चौहान वाज इन जेल फॉर
ऑफ कोर्स ही वाज पॉलिटिकली, उनको अरेस्ट किया था, लेकिन वो क्या डरे? अगर झूठा कुछ होता तो वो भाजपा में जाते. भाजपा का प्रेशर उनके जेल में था. लोग आते थे, पूछते थे आ जाओ हम आपको निकालेंगे. उसने कहा मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, कुछ गलत नहीं किया, मैं नहीं जाऊंगा. लेकिन जो सबके सब, जैसे मैंने कहा पीएम केयर के बारे में बात कीजिए. आप देखो संजय राउत जी हो, सूरज चौहान हो, संजय सिंह जी हो, अनिल देशमुख जी हो, इन सब पे जो उन्होंने चार्जेस लगाए, कुछ झूठा काम नहीं किया था, इसलिए डरे नहीं और डटे रहे.
Okay, now we'll try to wrap it up. You've been campaigning across Mumbai. What is the realistic expectations this time, like for for your party as
I
well?
think Mumbai, if you see, everyone has realized the way the BJP was not basically just controlling the BMC for the last 4 years vicariously through the administrator, but also looting the BMC for the last 4 years. Everyone's realized that there is a real threat from the BJP to Mumbai about loot, about plunder, and about giving it into Adani's hands. Every person who lives in Mumbai today lives under the fear that their chawl, their house, their building will be swallowed by Adani. And thanks to the BJP. Mumbai has realized this, and Mumbai will not vote for the BJP that's plundered Mumbai.
Out of 227, what is the number that you're looking at?
Maximum.
All right, but with this, viewers, it's time now to slip into a very short break. As we come right back, we will be telling you all the stocks that you should be watching out for in today's trading session.
Hello and welcome back. Keep tuned into Market Cafe, where we are getting you all the cues to watch out for before the start of D Street today. And before the start of D Street, we need to look at how Asian markets have opened up. Now, Asian markets have opened up in the green. In fact, very good gains coming in there, especially Japan's Nikkei that has jumped 3.4% to lead the gains in the region after resuming trading following a holiday. Yesterday was a market shut for Japan. Now, remember, Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party is expected to dissolve the country's lower house later this month and opt for a snap election that's likely in February, and on the back of that, we do see a Nikkei that's jumped up 3.2%. In fact, we do see a couple of major counters like the heavyweights like SoftBank, that's advanced 5%. The Advantest and Tokyo Electron have jumped up 8 and 9% respectively. So Nikkei is doing very well as of now, but the rest of the market also, if you look at Hang Seng, even that is up in a way 1.6%, more than 1.5% gains coming in there. S&P ASX 200 is also up 1%. We also have Kospi that's up 0.8%, and Shanghai has been flip-flopping in the red and the green. It has turned green now. Very flat moves coming in. 0.09% gains is what Shanghai is seeing. Though it was trading in the red, it has now slipped into the green. But it is very flat as of now. But barring that, all the Asian markets are doing quite well in today's trading session. And if you can pull up GIFT Nifty, that is up 43 odd points, implying a positive start for Indian markets as well. And remember, yesterday we saw a solid recovery on the Indian markets after those commentary coming in from Sergey Agor. And on the back of that, we do see a positive start in the Indian markets. But let's see if we can sustain those moves.
All right, so that's about the Asian markets. But back home, there are indeed a lot of stocks that you should be watching out for. And firstly, let me take it across to Meryl, who's standing by with a list of stocks in focus. Good morning, Meryl.
Good morning, Srishti. Well, we have a lot of stock-specific news coming in today. These are mainly on the back of their third quarter performance. Let's take a look at these. First off, we have TCS, which has reported an in-line performance in this third quarter. Revenues were up marginally in constant currency terms. EBIT also was flat on the quarter-on-quarter basis. They've also announced dividend cuts and continued headcount reductions, which are clear negatives in their case. And their BFSI segment, which is quite a strong sector for IT, a very important one. This BFSI segment was seen softening this quarter, but was offset by growth in other verticals for the company. So an overall in-line neutral result for TCS. Coming up to HCL Tech, they've announced a better performance this quarter with revenues up 6% quarter-on-quarter. EBIT margin also was up, and new deal wins have had strong growth momentum this quarter. This was led largely by AI-led large deals, and their guidance has also been narrowed down to a 4 to 4.5% range. And they've given FY26 guidance for EBIT margin in the range of 17 to 18%. Next up, Anand Rathi Wealth. They've announced a strong positive quarter this time, with revenues up almost 22% year-on-year and PAT almost up 30% year-on-year. Their AUM also has seen a growth of almost 30% on a year-to-year basis, and they've given guidance of over 1 lakh crore AUM for the FY26. Next up is Kalpataru, also with a strong, slightly negative business update this time, with pre-sales down 14% on a year-on-year basis. So these were some of the key stocks on our radar today on the back of the third quarter performance. Back to you in the studio.
Right, thank you so much, Merin, for that list. But other than that, let's tell you some of the other stocks that you should be watching out for. And first up is TVS Supply Chain, as the company will be in focus on the back of a positive news flow, as they say that they have signed a 3-year contract from Daimler India CV for their in-plant warehouse operations, where they will manage the in-plant component logistics for the company. Other than that, KP Energy will be in focus as well, as they have signed an MOU with Gujarat government to develop 855 megawatts of renewable energy projects, where the total proposed investments will be of 4,000 crores. NBCC again is going to be in focus, as their arm has signed a strategic MOU with Bharat Electronics, where they will collaborate on healthcare, manufacturing, medical devices as well. And within the financial space, we'll watch out for Poonawalla FinCorp, as the company will be in focus because 16th of January is going to be an interesting day, as the board will consider fundraising. So let's watch out for this counter. In terms of some of the newly listed counters, Canada HSBC Life Insurance will be in focus, as the lock-in of this counter is going to end today. So all eyes on that. And lastly, within the pharma space, it's Biocon, interesting development out there, as the board has actually approved the QIP, setting the floor price issue at 387.74 paisa per share. And that's, of course, quite an interesting development coming in for Biocon, as they plan to raise almost 4,150 crores from the markets.
All right, so those are all the stocks that you need to watch out for in today's trading session. But with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere after the break. We'll get you more updates. Stay tuned.
ET Now brings you Budget Yatra, where we will cover India beyond the metros. ET Now captures what India wants. We get you on-ground budget expectations across Bharat. The voice of MSMEs, entrepreneurs and workers. Budget conversations from factory floors. Watch ET Now as we decode budget priorities with a focus on capital, credit and compliance. ET Now Budget Yatra, your budget destination. From January 5th to 25th, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. Only on ET Now. Co-powered by the all-new Kia Seltos, badass forever. Knowledge partner Deloitte. In association with 5 Paisa, trade made easy.
तो पूरे एक्स्ट्रा सेव और सेव वो डालो ना।
सेव से इतना प्यार
कौन सेव?
तो फ्लिपकार्ट रिपब्लिक डे सेल पे सेव करो।
माही कोई कूल बैंक सजेस्ट करो ना जो सोशली कॉन्शियस।
फिर तो SBI कूलेस्ट है।
Really?
SBI ने होनहार बच्चों को स्कॉलरशिप्स दी, गांव के यूथ को ट्रेन किया, स्पेशली एबल्ड को सपोर्ट किया, विलेजेस को अडॉप्ट किया।
That's so cool, man.
SBI, the banker to every Indian. Truly.
Presented by IDFC First Bank. Always you first.
आदमी एक बार जीता है, एक बार मरता है, पर बीवियां बार बार ज्वेलरी खरीदती हैं। एक बार किटी के लिए, एक बार पार्टी के लिए, एक बार वेडिंग के लिए। All thanks to Candia. Lightweight, everyday jewelry.
सर रोक तो आप भी नहीं पाएंगे, ट्राई कीजिए।
ओह वाह, सब पे दिल आ जाए
तो मल्टी लेयर पहन लीजिए।
This is, ये मुझे चाहिए। Oh my God, this is so देख क्या रही? मैं भी तो यही कह रहा था कि ज्वेलरी सबके लिए होनी चाहिए। कैंडिया लाइफस्टाइल ज्वेलरी। भारत की सबसे बड़ी गोल्ड लोन एनबीएफसी मुथूट फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और फिर देखिए सोना क्या नहीं कर सकता। कॉल कीजिए 1-800-313-1212।
Welcome back. You're tuned into Market Cafe, where we are getting you all the updates on the market and the cues you need to watch out for. Now, retail inflation for December has grown 1.3% versus a 0.7% in the previous month. And despite hitting a 3-month high, retail inflation remains well within the RBI's target range of 2 to 6%. However, the core inflation came in at a 28-month high of 4.5%. So that's the number coming in as far as India's macro inflation data is concerned. And let's go across to my colleague Anurag Joshi is joining us with more number crunching on the CPI numbers.
India's consumer prices accelerated 1.33% in December, and this compared with 0.7% in November. The December consumer price inflation rose 1.33% from a year earlier, but the reading is still below the Reserve Bank of India's target range for headline inflation of 2% or to 6%. Economists in a Bloomberg survey had earlier forecast an estimate of 1.56%, and the Monetary Policy Committee in December had unanimously cut the policy repo rate by 25 basis points to 5.25%. The forecast in the Bloomberg survey had ranged between 0.8% to 2.3% rise in the CPI rate. Food prices, meanwhile, fell 2.71% from a year earlier, and this compared to 3.91% decline in November. Food and beverage prices fell 1.85% year on year, while fuel and lighting prices rose 1.9% year on year. Clothing and footwear prices rose 1.44% from a year earlier, while housing prices rose 2.86% from a year earlier.
All right, so those were the highlights of the inflation print. But we spoke with Sakshi Gupta of HDFC Bank and Indraneel Pan from Yes Bank to understand what drove the surge and its implications. Listen in.
The headline core number, is at 4.6% and at a 28-month high. However, the primary reason why you are seeing this number is because gold prices have continued to kind of climb up. And just to recall, within the core basket, you have a category called personal care and effects, which is influenced by how global gold prices, move. So therefore, that is the reason why you are seeing this increase in core inflation. If you remove gold from core CPI, then you get a number which is close to 2.6%, which is very, very comfortable.
So rightly pointed out, we are likely to see a new CPI number with a totally altered weighting diagram and composition, which necessarily means that the RBI would have to relatively wait and see what is the noise that is created around the current trajectory of inflation versus the new trajectory of inflation. The second is, I think growth is still holding out. Yes, the RBI has expressed some concerns on the growth front for the second half, but in my opinion, growth is not crashing down, which necessarily means that there is possibly no need of any incremental rate cuts to support the growth story.
And then let's move on to the earnings corner then. We kick-started the earnings season yesterday with the IT giant TCS reporting its numbers. Let's take a look at the numbers. Well, it was largely in-line set coming in as far as the revenues are concerned. On a sequential basis, it saw an uptick of 2% at 67,087 crores. We also see the PAT that was down 11.6% on a sequential basis at 10,720 crores. The EBIT came in saw an uptick of 2% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, and the EBIT margin that was absolutely flat. But according to the press release, the AI services are now generating $1.8 billion in an annualized revenue. That's up 17.3% on a sequential basis in constant currency, and the revenue growth of 2% on a sequential basis in rupees, but only 0.8% in constant currency. That signals the rupee strength. Now, as far as the brokerages are concerned, we do have Citi that is maintaining a sell, and they've cut the target price to 3,020 rupees. Also, they feel that it's an inline set number coming in. But the muted international business growth is likely to disappoint the investors. So that's what Citi says on the TCS numbers. But we also had Aditya Shah, who's the founder of Hercules Advisors, and Sandeep Agarwal of Solio Investment Managers to weigh in on the numbers. Let's go across and listen into what they had to say.
Yeah, so has a steady set of numbers, nothing on the upside, nothing on the downside, particularly for me. I expect it can't be that great, but these are steady numbers. I don't think there is any surprise here. The EBITDA number and the margin number looks okay. It is not as bad as people were expecting. So my opinion is not too much move upside or downside for the stock as well. Steady numbers. Now we need to watch. What is the deal wins? What are the deal wins that the company had this quarter? What is the guidance with respect to how is the mood within North American market, and what is how the management foresees the next 2 to 3 quarters? That will decide what does the stock price do. But as of now, the numbers remain very steady.
This is very good. We were expecting that mostly the revenue growth will come out of currency depreciation, but the constant currency revenue growth in dollar terms of 0.8% is definitely good.
All right, so that's about the TCS numbers indeed that we have definitely seen. But other than that, it was HCL Tech as well that reported its numbers, where the revenue has seen a beat. EBIT has also seen a beat, but the profit was seen to be missing. And along with that, the company has actually made some changes with respect to its guidance. And specifically, when we talk about their revenue growth, that has been clocked at almost 4.2% on a quarter-on-quarter basis in constant currency terms. That is indeed better than what the street was penciling in. But overall, the company has actually gone ahead and raised their FY26 revenue guidance to 4 to 4.5% from the previous 3 to 5% earlier, and the services growth guidance is now standing at 4.75 to 5.25% in constant currency term, and that's higher from 4 to 5% that the company guided earlier. So that's of course definitely the kind of guidance that the company has given. A decent set coming in from HCL Tech is what we have actually seen. But with this, let's also hear out from what the management had to say.
$48 million this quarter, which is a 20% increase over the last quarter. And this is not just AI revenue, this is advanced AI revenue. We have AI infused across all our service lines. There's a lot of service transformation work we do. There are a lot of large opportunities which are influenced through AI, and AI is embedded. So this does not include AI embedded within our services. This does not include data and analytics kind of services. This is pure advanced AI services, which is about physical AI, robotics, agentic AI, all the work that we do in AI factory, building large-scale data center, professional services. So these and all the IPs, all the software product IPs that we are creating, like AI Force, AI Foundry. So it's these components which are included.
The rupee revenue is definitely much ahead of estimate. I think around 6% quarter on quarter. The estimate was around 4%. So, but naturally, the CC growth number and the dollar number will be also good. And even EBIT margins, I think, are 20-30 basis points higher than the street estimate. So they have done a good job there as well. So no doubt this is a better number than what was anticipated. Also, there was a delta from the product because PNP business in this quarter generally is the strongest. So I think definitely they have also benefited from that. But having said so, no complaints you can say from seeing the numbers.
And well, with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're into Market Cafe, we're getting you all the cues to watch out for. And well, the Department of Telecommunication is working on technical audit of Vodafone Idea's 87,695 crore debt. An AGR committee may soon examine the assessment process as a part of this audit. The review will likely check for calculation mistakes and possible double counting of revenues. The audit will cover revenues of 13 legacy entities over a period of 15 years. My colleague Charu is now joined with more details.
The Department of Telecommunications AGR Reassessment Committee is going to meet soon to sort of pan out how the Vodafone relief is going to be implemented in real time. Now, we already know that the cabinet meeting was held around December 31st and they approved the government relief for Vodafone after the Supreme Court October ruling. However, it remains to be seen how it is implemented in real time. Also, another development came very recently when Vodafone agreed on an exchange filing that yes, indeed, they have received communication of government relief. However, there are several steps that still need to be navigated. For example, there are about 13 entities and the revenues span out for a period of over 15 years. So the government AGR Reassessment Committee is going to see how they are going to be going about it. What we know for now is that the cap of the entire dues has been put on a little over 87,000 crore rupees and there will be a moratorium of about 10 years for the payment. However, there are several steps that need to be taken, several other arithmetical errors or any recalculations have to be looked at, identified and removed. So the committee will be doing that job.
All right. Thank you so much, Aru, for getting us all those details. But direct tax collections increased to 8.8% on a year-on-year basis as of mid-January this year. Now, currently, the net direct collection stands at 18.4 lakh crores. My colleague Prakash joins in way earlier with the highlights.
Well, the Finance Ministry has come out with the direct tax collection numbers for FY26 as on January 11, 2026, which shows that the gross direct tax collection stands at rupees 21.49 lakh crore with the increase of 4.14% as compared to rupees 20.64 lakh crore in FY25. When it comes to net direct tax collection numbers as on January 11, which stands at rupees 18.37 lakh crore, increased by 8.82% compared to rupees 16.88 lakh crore last year. When it comes to net refunds, which stands at rupees 3.11 lakh crore, declined by 16.92% as on January 11, 2026, which is a good sign for the government as net refunds are coming down. But that would be very interesting to see whether the government will meet budgetary target of direct tax collection numbers, which was set at rupees 25.20 lakh crore, almost higher by 15% compared to FY25. But the government sources are indicating that they are committed and, in fact, hopeful to achieve this target on the back of improved collection methods, efficiency, and decline in refunds.
And well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Cafe. Shrishti and I will take your leave. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere because the market is coming up next.